When you get rid, put these things down. And my newest book isn't even on there, so we'll cut the bottom half down and add the newest book to the top, that's all. That's like, Sharon Klingler's really old. That's be the end. Okay, so I want to talk to you today about the collective unconscious. And Jung told us that we each have a personal conscious, a personal unconscious, but we all together have a collective unconscious. We share the collective unconscious, and that's inherited by all of us. And what's contained in the collective unconscious is all of humankind's memories, knowledge, information, and events. And indeed, it actually is pre-human. Animals, everything. The collective unconscious permeates grass, matter, animals, everything, not just humankind. And it contains all information. Because of that, a lot of people think that the collective unconscious is very much like the Akashic records. And I believe that too, in the fact of all the information that it holds. But in many ways, that's a little bit too static for me. You know, a lot of people, and including me, have likened the Akashic records to a library, which is a very beautiful kind of image, but that's not moving enough. To me, the collective unconscious is like an active mind. It has active thought and indeed an active will, you know, and even perhaps God's mind shares the collective unconscious with ours, you know, a collective mind with ours. And there's a river of time that moves through the collective unconscious. And that's why Carl Jung said that there can be parallel events that occur because of the collective unconscious. Let me give you a for instance in that. And Colonel Frank Borman was in the Apollo 8 mission, okay? They were the first, I don't remember the other two guys that, I'm sorry guys, that were in the Apollo 8 mission, but they were the first people who circled the moon, okay? And when he got back, he wrote a letter to Jules Verne's grandson. Now, Jules Verne, obviously, you know, wrote a bunch of books, and some of my favorite, actually. But one of his books was From the Earth to the Moon. And he was the first to posit Earth to Moon travel. And Borman wrote to Verne's grandson, it's no coincidence that our capsule weighed 20,000 pounds and was 12 feet tall. And we took off from Florida, just 100 miles from where Verne's characters took off from Florida. And we splashed down in the Pacific, just 2.5 miles from where Verne's characters splashed down in the Pacific. And he wrote that 103 years before. Now, where did he get that? The collective unconscious. That's parallel events. Because that information, that's the river of time that flows through the collective unconscious. And Verne tapped into that and gave us that information 103 years before it happened in real life in his story. Okay. And now Carl Jung studied synchronicity. Actually, he often used the word synchronicity for intuition. He was very much into the study of synchronicity for the reason to help his and to treat his patients, his psychological patients. so many allergies. I take D-hist and all that, then I get dry. Anyway, so Carl Jung studied these parallel events that happened because of the collective unconscious and synchronicity. And he says, all synchronicity, there are no accidents. Of course, in psychology, you know there are no accidents. And in the collective unconscious, there are accidents. So he made a study of synchronicity his whole life. And he had this one patient who was very very academic, had gone to colleges and was very well read and was able then to academically and adroitly argue with him about her emotions, which you understand that academic arguing is a very good way, a very good defense system to not deal with your emotions, right? And he was like fed up with her. I can't stand this. I mean, no, he loved her and he wanted to treat her, but he never was able to treat her because she just wouldn't let herself get to her emotions. She just had a brass plate here. Okay, so one day she's in her office, laying on the couch, which is what they did in psychology, always laying on the couch. And she's in his very dark office. Everything was wood at that time. And his window was closed. Sometimes warm days it was open, cold days it closed. And she was telling him about a dream she had the night before. And she said, in this dream, this person was giving me a golden scarab. I don't know if it was a piece of jewelry, I guess, but a large one, but not a nice one, a gold scarab. And he's walking around. I think he did that out of frustration with her. Anyway, walking around the office, and as he's standing there, he hears tap, 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 tap on the window behind him. And he goes to the window, and this had never happened before in his life. He writes about this event. There is a scarabide beetle tapping on the window, trying to get in. Yeah. And, that's a scarab type of beetle, looking just like a scarab. And so he slides the window open and the beetle flies right in and he captures it midair. And he said, here's your scarab. And he hands it to her. And she says, you're kidding. Now a scarabide beetle is kind of like a greenish gold and very shiny. And he said, that was enough to help her release her defense mechanisms. And he said, do you know what the scarab means? All the way to ancient times, it's new birth, it's new life. You can get rid of all of your defenses. You can get rid of this brass plate in front of your heart, and you can get rid of all of your defense system and start to deal with your feelings. And that's what it took to break through, and she could release all of that. I hope they released the beetle too, but anyway, but that was like breakthrough moment. And he used this as a parallel event, absolutely indicative of the collective unconscious. And so this was a very strong point for him to say, we have a mind that's active in our mind that connects us to other people, and the mind that is in the collective unconscious, think about it now, actually went into the mind of that beetle. And that beetle tap, 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 and was sent by the mind of the collective unconscious to teach the lesson of the symbolic lesson that its ancestors in ancient Egypt knew to this lady. And that her mind in her dream state needed to get the night before. This is how profoundly pervasive the collective unconscious is. But it's very important that you understand, it's not just about being psychological. It's about being in touch with the God mind, because there is a will there, that there is a will that we can connect with and hold a will here. You see what I'm saying? And when we can when we can make that connection to a divine mind that is always inside of us, think of where we can go and the discoveries that we can make and the large opportunities that we can bring to our life. You know, Isaac Newton, he was a pretty cool dude. He didn't believe in spirit people. That's okay. He found out when he died, that's all right. Anyway, before he passed, he said, you know, and this isn't the exact quote, I didn't get a lot, you know, I didn't do so much. It was just like I was on a beach and I would find a shiny stone here or colorful shell there, which he was referring to as discoveries, right? And as I played on the shore next to the ocean of undiscovered truth, he was always playing at the ocean of undiscovered truth, and it would wash up just a pebble of discovery for him, like gravity, right? And so, but think of what we can find there. So I'm going to take you just 2 minutes to the ocean of undiscovered truth. Everybody close your eyes real quick. Close your eyes real quick and take a deep breath. Now let go of all your concerns, all your worries. And take another deep, relaxing breath. And let go of all the conflict and the worries and the stresses. And just release it all. That's all part of the personal world. And take one more deep breath and feel yourself going way deeper, deeper, deeper. You're going deeper now, past your consciousness, past your subconscious, even past your own personal unconscious. Going deep, deep, deep into a very peaceful state. Very relaxed you are. With each breath, you become more relaxed. And somehow you hear in the distance the waves lapping up on a shore. And you're going deeper and deeper. And you start to look before you, and there's the sand. And you step closer to the waves, and the waves are gentle. And you look down and you notice there are no shoes on your feet, and your feet are bare. And you step just a little closer to the waves that are gently lapping on the shore. And you can see, as far as you can see, it's the ocean of undiscovered truth. And there it is, the greatest mind of all, the mind of all history, and the divine mind of God. And the little waves come up and play and dance in your toes. And you look down, and there's a little shining shell. Bend over and feel yourself pick up that shell and just hold it to you. Notice the colors and feel if that shell has a heart feeling or some kind of answer or some kind of truth for you. It doesn't have to be data filled. Just hold the shell and see what you know in your knowing. And don't try to go into your left brain, figuring it out. Just sense and hold it in your heart for a second. Hold it to your heart for a second. And as you do, watch the waves of the great ocean of undiscovered truth. And now let go of the shell and know that you can come back to this great mind, and all the rivers of time lead to this ocean. And take a deep breath. And I'm going to count from 1 to 3 easily, and you're going to bring yourself back. 1, feel the ease and peace that you know you have every time you want to come back here. 2, bringing yourself back further, but remembering the mind that you share with all, and the heart that you share, the divine heart. 3, coming all the way back now, back to the place where you are, the time that it is, the chair where you sit, and open your eyes as you're ready to do so. And make a promise to yourself when you have more time to bring yourself back to the ocean of the undiscovered truth. So there you are, you get to get a little taste of the great collective unconscious, and you can see how the rivers of time flow through to that ocean, and you can take time to discover it more frequently and more often in the future. Thank you, everybody.